Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. It's actually Friday on this timeline. So if you're watching the video today, the webinar, happy Friday, happy weekend. It's a holiday weekend, so hopefully everybody has some downtime and looking forward to moving into April. It's wild that we're already here, but so welcome to the April webinar for release notes, deploy notes. This is April 2024. And excited. The last webinar last month did well. I think the analytics show that you guys were checking it out, so you definitely were watching, and I did get some questions. This does frame our office hours, which will be the third week of April on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for your respective state. Keep an eye out for the email for those. I don't have the ability yet to add you specifically to a calendar invite, so I've had some questions about that. You'll have to bookmark it, or you'll create your own placeholder in your calendar. I'll provide the Zoom information, so you can put that into your placeholder, and then allow your faculty instructors, really whoever wants to attend those office hours, give them access to that Zoom information. They can drop in and out during that hour. It's 2 p.m. Central for all states, depending on what day you attend your office hours. So 2 p.m. Central, we run it for an hour. It went really well. The last month in March, our theme was support services. So we did go into a little more detail about support services, how to escalate a case. A lot of good information there. I'm going to recap that real quickly during the webinar today, and then we're going to go into our theme this month, which I'm really excited about, is training services. That's right, training services. What do we have available for you that you can use to train your instructors, your faculty, your staff, to train the Canvas administrators that are working in the platform? What do we have for you? And we're going to do a real quick coverage, talk about the resources you have in your community. If we haven't met yet, by the way, my name is Jonathan Bernos. I'm your customer success manager. I think I've gotten around to everybody so far, but by chance, if you're joining this webinar today and we haven't met, hopefully we'll get to meet in person or in Zoom person in sometime in the next month or so. But I do want to start to reach out. You'll see emails from me that'll begin to establish a business review, quarterly business review. I like to do these once a quarter, where we're kind of looking at your usage data. It doesn't have to be real in-depth. I prefer a call so we can have some conversation and kind of talk about how your configuration, how Canvas is configured, talk about some other Instructure products and integrations that are available to you. But if that doesn't work out, I'd at least like to get you the data so you'll have that. We can if you have questions about it, you can always ask. So those will be going out again this month. And let's jump into our webinar for April. Real quickly, I want to go back into a couple notes here. Let's jump into support services. There we go. So last month in March, we introduced kind of a resource reference slide for urgency scale escalation steps with Canvas. If you have a case that needs to be escalated specifically for Canvas, and this will also apply to Instructure. So if you have other products you're using, if you're using Credentials, Catalog, Studio, any of those big ones, and you have cases, you still follow the same process. Hopefully you're aware or familiar with how you create cases in your instance. If you're not, talk to your administrators, your Canvas administrators at your school. If they're unsure, or if you ultimately can't get an answer, come to me. You can email me, let me know, and I'll help take a look at your configuration, make sure that it's going to the right place. One of the most frustrating things is if cases get kicked back and forth. If they go to support, they're kicking it back to you with questions. We want to eliminate that. We want to get them to the right person, the team, support team, as quick as possible. We want to get resolution. So we do have some resources. I'll drop these into the email and share them. Looks like I have somebody dropping into it right now. That's awesome. So this is just a slide. It's a view only. It allows you to kind of see what should be escalated, how to escalate that. If you are a Canvas administrator, if you work in the console, the admin console, which is your relay, your home base, to act as a level of supervision for our support team, whether you have standard support or you have tier 1, our top support services, you have a contact point to our support team, and we encourage you to use that. If you know what needs to be escalated, I've been telling everybody, I encourage you to ask for the escalation within the case when you create it. Put in as much information as possible, and then ask for the escalation, and that'll get you moved into the right team. Within that documentation, in that slide, There's a great document here, support best practices. You'll see it's got some links included that include also this urgency scale and escalation. But they also include this CSM versus support document, which I think is fantastic. If you're ever unsure, this is a great resource. What should go to me as your customer success manager versus really needs to go to support. And to boil it all down, to make it as simple as possible, if it's a button that you're pushing and it's not doing what you think it should or you expect it to, it's broken, it needs to go to support. You can copy me on it. I always encourage every instance that I work with, all schools. If you're not sure, you can always copy me on it. But the very first step to take, even if you think it should go to me, is to create the support case first so we can document it in support. I'll have a case number as a reference point, and then I can work from there kind of on escalation if it needs to be internally. But you'll see here the document, CSM or support. This is what it's talking about. Different questions and topics, how to contact, tips, availability. All that applies. If you, again, it's technical in nature, if it's broken, if it's not doing what you expect it to do, go to support. Anything else that's strategic, high level, LTIs, configuration, are we using the proper services? Are we using the product that we should be getting through our Canvas contract, through our Instructure contract? That's going to go to me. And if I don't take care of it personally, I will figure out the right teammate to get it to, and we'll make sure that it gets resolved. That's where our team comes into play. We have Haley from Renewals, and we have Max Spencer. Many of you are getting to meet Max, who's our account executive, and it's going to go to him if it involves something that we don't have that we need to bring into the table. We need to look at a workflow. That's going to be Max. So my job to figure out where that should go, but it's easier if we can filter out what should go to support first, and then everything else we can kind of take care of from there. So training services. Let's talk about some training. I'm a big fan of training. I have a training background for years and years in higher ed and ed tech. So let's talk about training services. Everybody has a training services portal that's available to them. It's part of your Instructure contract. It's part of Canvas. If you're not utilizing it, you should. You should make it available. And if nobody uses it, at least you made it available, right? But I do know that there are some instances upon review that are not taking advantage of the training services portal. And I would encourage you to do that. Some groups have turned it off over the years because they didn't find it helpful, useful. Maybe they weren't getting traffic. We've since revamped our training services portal. We did that about a year ago. I'll show you some resources where you can find the information on that. But bottom line is it's now hosted within Canvas. I'll show you that here in just a moment. And so there's an advantage there. If you have new users, instructors that are coming into Canvas for the first time, going through a training course within a Canvas instance is a great benefit. And so I know that we have growing with Canvas. We have some other resources when we first bring you on board. Some schools like to update those resources and keep them current and use those as training. That's perfectly fine. The training services portal has the ability to offer more and updated information on the training services portal, one itself. And then two, on Canvas, orientating to other products that may be purchased or added to your Canvas instance. For example, if you add credentials, you'll have a training webinar or training course available in the portal, available for your users and instructors to learn about how to use credentials. So take advantage of that. We're going to go through the levels, but baseline, if it's added to your instance, you should go into your help navigation. It'll be training services portal. If you don't see that, contact me, let me know we need to get it added back. Especially if you're now considering, okay, maybe we should use the training services portal. When a user or an instructor, and it's kind of role-based, so they're only going to see what applies to them. If I'm a teacher, if I'm an instructor, I'm only going to see the courses that really apply to me. I'm not going to see the ones that really my students need to use or can use to orient to Canvas. So I'm going to jump into a learning view. This is more of an admin view right now, so I want to be able to show you what you would see if you're in the training services portal. If you don't see this, please let me know, and we can look at the configuration again. But as a learner in the training services portal, first notice that you're in Canvas. Now, you're in a different instance, but it's connected to your instance. So it's great that it's presenting Canvas. You get to see Canvas being used in a display, and in the area that you'll see less within your training portal. Again, because my admin settings allow me to see more, have a little bit more control. Try to remove some of that and just kind of see what's happening here in the middle. But depending on what you are, which most of you are going to be higher education, you're going to see the sessions, the training courses that are available for you here in the middle. Opening Canvas, new training services portal walkthrough. If you have a different level of training services, a higher level, which we have, and they're very affordable. So if you're unsure, if you're like, we don't want to pay for training services, take a look at it, evaluate it. If it's something that could be a benefit to remove it from your plate and to put it onto ours for your instructors, for your end users, consider it or evaluate it, and we can scope it out and kind of see if it's a good fit. If not, totally understand. We have live webinars. We have a calendar of training events that take place the higher the services. So if your standard, your baseline training that's free built into your contract, you may not see all of this, but just know that it's available and we can add it at any time. But definitely know if you have questions, let us know. There's some information. I'll include this in the email. This is the information on the training portal and the subscription services that are available. Again, you have free, essentials, standard, and premium. All include different levels and different available resources for you that will be placed into the training services portal. So take a look at this as I kind of disperse this out to you guys through email. Can't talk Friday. We also have some documents here on the training services portal itself, a checklist to see, one, is it enabled? And then two, once it's enabled, are we using it in the correct way? Is it displaying the information that it should be? So I'll send that out to you all as well. And that's great for us as something to review. And then, oh, that's not it. So we'll definitely take a look at the different training services and what's available there. Yeah, so training services. Again, I'm going to have questions as I start to interact with you all individually, different schools. My questions are going to be, are you offering any kind of training for your instructors, for your teachers? And then what is that training? Is that in-house? Are you hosting it? Are you building it yourself? Do you have a training team? If not, have you looked at the instructor training services, our learning services team? We can build all of that. We can customize it. We already have all of it built out as it is, and it's all really helpful. And all you have to do is just kind of offer it up or make it available. So free training services, again, it's free. It's available. If you're not using it, point to it. You're going to get as much traction and traffic to training as you promote it. If you're not promoting it, you're definitely not going to get much traction to it. If you're using the Canvas community or the instructor community and documentation as training, just know that there's going to be some gaps there. If you're showing them where to drink, but yet you really haven't taught them how to drink yet. I know that I'm trying to play off the parable of the teach them to fish or give them fish. You kind of have to do them both in between with training to get them started, which is to kind of teach them, hey, how do we get to the water? And then here's the water. That's documentation. Training services, there's a lot more hand holding. The other great thing about the portal is you get data, you get reports, you can see who's completing these training sessions, who's going in and taking a look at them, and then we can follow up with additional resources. So I'm a huge advocate for training. If you're not doing it, evaluate it. Let me know if you have questions. Also, faculty or administrators, Canvas administrators. What type of training are you offering for Canvas administrators? At the end of the webinar today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Canvas Certified Technical Administration program that we offer, which is training for Canvas administrators, which is phenomenal training. We've got great feedback on it. It can be very personal, but I want to include that or let you guys know a little bit about that as well. All right, let's jump into Friday, April release notes. This is what you're here for, right? So sorry about all the commercials in the front end, but wanted to get a recap on that information and talk a little bit about training services, get it in your brain, get you thinking about it. Right, release notes for Canvas. That's going to be our primary focus here. Again, you'll find them in the community and structure community underneath products, Canvas LMS. Here we are in the release notes tab just down below. I'm going to cover the 420 release notes today and the 327 deploy notes. Let's jump in. 420. What's going on in the upcoming release in April? Well, that's a fairly big release. We're going to see some common themes that we've seen in the past few months at the end of last year, which are going to be around assignments, around gradebook, around new quizzes, and around reporting. So all good stuff, definitely needed. When we look at the release notes, remember, we're going to see who's impacted, who's going to have the benefit of the release or the enhancement that rolls out here on the very top. And we see this first one is going to be for administrators, Canvas administrators, and instructors. Currently in beta, will roll out on 420. We can see, is it something we have to enable, or is it something that's just going to take place? This one's going to take place just in the configuration tools or in your settings, so you don't need to turn it on. It'll just be available Very first one, very simple. This is going to be in assignments. It's your external tools, submission type, selection box. When you're going in to add an external tool, we have the drop-down menu has been configured now to have, or the interface has been updated to show the submission type field or assignment submission type field. It will display a configured icon now. It's going to display the name of the tool, and it'll have a description of that tool. So benefit here, it's just going to improve cohesion. It's improving the UI overall, the visual aesthetics of Canvas and the user interface. So really small change, but helps us kind of start off the what other changes can we expect. Developer keys, dynamic registration for developers. This really only applies to administrators that are administering the Canvas platform. This is when LTIs, it's adding a new option basically. Change benefit is allowing admins to more quickly and efficiently add LTI tools. You'll see the main benefit here is under the developer keys. If you're working in that area as an administrator, you have a new option for LTI registration. The images that are added here, workflow, very detailed, just kind of showing you what the configuration looks like now when you're adding that in developer keys. So some nice updates here for administrators working in that area. Grading, archive grading schemes. All right, if you're using grading schemes, and then again, this is for instructors and administrators, this is in your beta instance to test. This is just going to become available once we roll it out in April. This is giving you an option now. If you work with grading schemes as an instructor, the interface has been redesigned. You can now archive grading schemes as well as edit the name and the description of the grading schemes currently that are in use. So just gives more flexibility. We've got some images here showing that flexibility now, showing you the option now that you can archive grading schemes. That'll be nice to kind of keep your gradebook and within assignments, the configurations there on grading the schemes themselves, keep them nice and tidy. You like to keep a nice and tidy, clean room. RCE, external tool icon. This is a real simple change. It's just a default now that will add an image or in this case, if there is no provided image from the LTI, if you're featuring that in your rich content editor, which you can do for any LTI tool, if you really want to feature it, make it available. If it doesn't provide an icon, the default icon will be the first initial of the tool's name in the rich content editor. The example here is Canva. We see that a C is added as a default now. So just giving you kind of a visual cue, visual tool now to the LTI displays if you're placing them in the RCE. So let's move into feature options. This is a nice one. This is mobile offline support. So I'm sure there can be a benefit here for many of you that maybe asked about this before. Real quickly, there's a benefit here for the instructor. There's a benefit here for the administrator. I would venture to say there's also a benefit here for the student because the benefit itself allows offline support, meaning if a student is working in Canvas and maybe they lose connectivity, they lose the internet, maybe, or they're working in a remote location, or they move to a remote location, maybe in transit someplace, this will allow them to still continue to work in the platform, even being offline. So this is an option for administrators. It has to be enabled. You'll see mobile offline mode. It's not just for mobile devices. It's also for the instance itself. If Canvas, again, is moved into if someone is on a device and they move into a location where they lose connectivity, this is going to allow them to continue to work in Canvas. It does save what's being done in Canvas. And then that will report it back to, once you're back online again, it will report it back to Canvas or kind of finalize those changes. So available to admins, allowing students to sync course content to view as read-only when offline. So moving back up a moment, I think I just made it maybe as I presented it, making changes. Let's take that out, read-only view, but still allowed to be in Canvas, working within Canvas on what's available. So it's good. It's good again because it's kind of a built-in safety, and they won't lose their content, or they won't lose what they're viewing while they're using this, or that's part of the change benefit. So if you have more questions about this, let me know. We can take a look at it. But again, this will be available, and it's currently in your beta available, and will be available in production on 4/20. New quizzes. We've added some new quizzes reporting. So item analysis report has additional data. That would be the essay and file upload and the numeric answer frequency summary. The distribution chart for the file upload and essay and file upload, and then the aggregation for numeric answer frequency summary, both offer CSV support. We have a little bit of extra information, but basically the reporting is just available now where it wasn't before. Raw points and percentages on the moderate page. When you're moderating, new quizzes moderation page, the configuration icon has been added to the score column, which will allow you to switch between percentages and raw points in that display. So nice little tiny enhancement, but I think can be beneficial based on feedback we received before on the reporting display here for the moderate page. View log question position down below. This is nice too. And the new quizzes moderation page view log will now include the question position of the answered question. So you'll see in that log, some of you are familiar with going in to take a look at when questions are answered in the log. It now will display which question in the order that it was answered in. And that's also been based on feedback we've received in the past that to add this enhancement. You'll see that's actually related ideas up above view log and new quizzes needs. Useful information. Here's some of the useful information that's been added. And those are the big ones. I'm going to skip the consortium update for now because I don't have very many consortiums. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it because we don't have to talk about it. No big deal. Scrolling back up here, I'm going to go into the Canvas platform deploy notes real quickly. There's two different deploys I want to talk about that just rolled out on the 27th. If you're watching this today or after the 29th, if you're in April, then this was a 327 deploy, which included two changes or two updates, gradebook and your reports. Within gradebook, the gradebook period filter update. So we've added some additional information. So in the gradebook, the start date, end date, and closing date display when filtering by the grading period. So just more streamlined, give you a little more versatility when doing that, using the filter in the gradebook. The second and last update for the deploy is the provisioning report update. Provisioning reports itself, you're in your saved or canned reports as an administrator. You have a provisioning course CSV report that will now include, this change has been rolled out, the Canvas Blueprint course ID. So again, small, it may seem like a small change, not much here, but it's actually a large change or an update enhancement to that report, which we don't update the canned reports often, but this is a good change. It's again based on feedback. Related ideas is displayed there to be able to get more information on if you're using Blueprint courses and using those IDs. Those will now appear in the provisioning report, which I know is actually a report that's used still quite a bit. So there you go. There's your deploy notes. I'll make mention that in the other products, if you want to see updates, which we didn't have very many this month in April for anything else, but if you are curious, definitely go take a look at some of the other products, especially catalog and credentials. I'm going to be talking a lot more about catalog and credentials because, again, I'm tying this into training services. If you're not offering any type of internal training, faculty training, instructor training, but you're thinking about it and you would like to be able to track it, credentials or badges are free within your instance. And this is a great way to kind of incorporate into training that when an instructor finishes a course to track that, you can award a badge. A badge will be attached to that instructor or to that learner, and then you can track it. And then we can talk about catalog also for asynchronous courses and other opportunities. I know that we're all kind of in the same boat and struggling with enrollment in many ways. And so we're looking for non-traditional ways to engage learners. And sometimes those learners may not be in your instance or maybe a part of your institution yet, but you want to pull them in from outside. Catalog is a great way to do that, along with credentials. We're looking at other ways besides traditional degree paths within your institution or within your instance to offer courses, and that's courses to increase engagement and to increase adoption. And then there's a lot of instances that are looking at ways to monetize that outside of the institution for those learners that may not be a part of your school because they're not on a traditional degree path, but maybe they are interested in taking courses or getting certifications from your institution. Well, there's a way to monetize that using catalog and using credentials, and they all integrate really well with Canvas. So again, release notes are included for all these other areas. I'm not going to go through them this month because really there were no big changes. So we're going to leave those off. A couple of things I do want to touch on real quickly. Canvas Certified Technical Administration or Admin Program. There's an FAQ here. I'll share this resource with you. This will bring you into all of the information about CCTA. If you're not offering it, first, it's a nominal or small fee for this. It is something that is a certificate that will go with you. It's something great to put on the resume when it comes to what certifies me, what gives me, shows my technical abilities within Canvas. But even better, it's also customized so that it's really gets in depth and in the weeds on your instance. So it's not just about Canvas as a whole. It's about how does your school use Canvas? How is it configured? It also does a real good review of if it's been some time since you've looked at your orientate or like how you oriented Canvas for your institution, how you've configured it. This will bring you back in and have a checklist and walk you through steps to kind of take a look at why did we set it up this way? If it's been set up or it's doing this because it's always done this, well, maybe things have changed. It would be better if we change that configuration. CCTA will help you kind of evaluate that. So it kind of takes you back to the beginning of implementation, which for many schools has been a long time. And this will kind of help make those updates that may be needed or may be beneficial for your workflow, for administrators moving forward. It is an asynchronous course, but it does kind of involve a cohort. So you're going to be placed with other CCTA learners, and that allows you to network with them. We do open up the networking channel, so you will talk to other instances, other schools, talking about how they use Canvas or maybe how they configured Canvas and what works best for them. Upcoming dates, we start a cohort, which may be a little late for this one, April 1st. We'll start another one in May, June. Once a month, we run the cohorts. All of in the resource slide, this will talk about kind of what you'll learn, how long it may take. And so as we clip through this, and again, I'll let you guys kind of open this and review it. This will kind of talk about what's involved. There are 2 core courses that are involved in the CCTA program, and then you can choose from a number of elective courses. Give you an example, one elective topic might be APIs and learning how to use APIs a little bit more and better to get some of reporting or get data out that maybe you haven't been able to access before. But as an administrator, from that standpoint, that might be something of a benefit that if you can learn that process a little bit more. Sometimes with institutions, you rely upon your sys teams or external teams to kind of work with Canvas data. But if you want a little bit more control over that, or you want to at least a little bit more know-how so that maybe you can kind of pull some of that reporting yourself as a Canvas administrator, this would be that's a great elective track to take. Time commitment, 3 courses, again, run for about 6 weeks, total of 18 weeks commitment. But again, you do have kind of a self-paced. So if you're doing other things, which we know you are, this definitely works along with that. And then what have folks said about it? We've got some great feedback on the course. It's not just an opportunity for me to try to get you to move into a program or buy a program. It's a great benefit on the support side for us at Instructure. It's a great benefit for me as a customer success manager to know and see that somebody is CCTA certified. We typically have a little more different or strategic outlook over the instance once we have a couple seats or a couple different administrators with the CCTA certification. So there's all kinds of great feedback from different schools. I'm happy to provide that, but I definitely would encourage you to take a look at that, evaluate it, see if that's something for you. If you have questions, we can definitely package in seats together if you have multiple users and administrators that are interested in taking the program. One is powerful enough in your instance, one administrator that's gone through the CCTA program. So again, I as a former trainer, this is a fantastic program, and it's very applicable, and not just for Canvas, but for your instance and how you use technology, namely Canvas, other Instructure products within your particular instance. So this is fantastic. That is my April webinar. So we had the release notes covered. Again, if you have questions about the release notes, feel free to reach out, follow up with me. We will have our office hours again on the 3rd week of April. Let me pull up my calendar because I'm blanking now on the dates specifically. 23rd, no, 16th, 17th, and 18th, 2 p.m. Central, office hours for 1 hour. Jump in with any questions about the release notes, the deploy notes that we covered today, any questions about training services, support services, CCTA, all that good stuff, let me know, and we can answer those questions and we'll have a great conversation. So let me know if these recordings are helpful. So far, we've gotten good feedback on the webinar recordings. I'm able to follow up on these on individual calls, and I'm always welcome, or you're welcome to schedule those with me. And the office hours. Again, the theme this month is training services. We'll be taking a kind of an in-depth look at that. And then look out for emails talking about your quarterly business review. We'll take a look at your usage data. We'll have some conversations around that as well. So my name is Jonathan Vernos. I'm your customer success manager. Reach out if you have any questions at all. And hope you guys have a awesome weekend, because today's Friday. Whether it's Friday when you're watching this or not, just know that it's Friday somewhere. It's like 5 o'clock somewhere. It's Friday. Enjoy the weekend. You guys take care. We'll see you next time.